Welcome to the Father Jim Clark Show, broadcasting here on Heavens Road FM. Welcome back. And if you're new to the show, you're welcome too. You're the reason we do this. So keep the faith and stay with Heavens Road FM.
So, Adam, Jack, welcome.
Hello.
Just for a quick introduction for our listeners, first of all, you may well be aware that very recently we had World Youth Day with the Holy Father in Krakow, and two of my young people went, and they are sitting in front of me. So, Adam and Jack, tell me, Adam first, how was Krakow?
I loved it. Completely different to what I expected
Right.
from arrival, but I loved it, yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, it was amazing.
You enjoyed it?
Absolutely loved it.
Just, obviously, because we're based in the Salford Diocese, this is just for our listeners, what happens here, and I presume it happens in quite a lot of the dioceses that go, the youngsters that are kind of chosen are almost chosen kind of a year beforehand. And during that year, there are a number of get-togethers.
Yeah, little sleepovers, yeah.
Oh, sleepovers as well. Yeah, and that's kind of, to I suppose, to bolster the camaraderie before you set off.
Yeah.
Get to know each other.
Yeah.
Very good. So, what I want to do really is, before we get actually to the Krakow itself, tell me about the meeting. God knows what time of the day it was that you met. The journey, how you got there, how many went, and what was it really well organised, or was it utter chaos?
Well, was it Sunday morning? Yeah, it was. There was a mass, but I think it was 7:30, 8:30, and then straight after that, it was grab your bags, everyone find a bus to get on it. Really,
Was that in the cathedral in Salford?
Yeah, the cathedral.
And who celebrated that?
There was everyone that was going, and then a couple of the parish priests.
All right.
And the priests that were going, all give it, and then piled on a bus straight after that for 30 odd hours, just short of 40, I think it was.
30 odd hours.
It was that.
I mean, I know. Obviously, for our listeners, again, they did travel by coach all the way, and I thought it was a long way, but nearly 40 hours. Didn't realise.
Yeah, we got to Belgium. We had to wait for the bus transfer, but because of the trouble at Calais the day before, there has to be that 24-hour gap where they have to change drivers. So,
of course.
So we had to wait 2 or 3 hours till we got the new drivers. So we were at 2 o'clock in the morning at a Belgium service station, throwing a rugby ball about and singing and dancing, whatever.
So, Jack, were you and Adam? You were able to go, I presume, on the same coach, were you?
Yeah, we were both on the same coach because we were under 18.
How many people actually went from the diocese?
I think there was 92 altogether.
92.
Yeah, just short of 100, wasn't you?
Yeah.
That's excellent. And that, just explain to me, Jack, who is it that kind of puts this together? Is it the youth coordinator? Do we have a group like that in the diocese?
Lorraine Leonard.
Yeah.
Lorraine Leonard from the cathedral. She and Father Simon. They seem to be the two head organisers. As soon as you got there, it was Lorraine seemed to be telling everyone where to go, etc. So
right. So over the let's talk about the first 40 hours on this bus. I'm intrigued. So 40 hours on a bus. What was? I mean, obviously you've expressed the difficulty with the Calais issue and the changing of the drivers, playing rugby at 2 o'clock in the morning. So actually, what was the camaraderie like? Was it fun? Was it boring?
Yeah, it was. So Adam was attempting to read in the full Harry Potter series.
Well, all the bits.
I tried.
How far did you get?
Halfway through the second one.
Okay.
There was lots of card games, lots of games of I Spy.
Right.
What else?
Very inventive, I can see.
It was, yeah, just the average long journey.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, it was needed because the first 2 hours. I mean, it was like being in a library where no one was allowed to talk. There was a lot of people that didn't know each other. I mean, there had been the meetings, but not everyone had been. So you were like, you got to 2 hours in, you're like,
still trying to figure out who people were.
Yeah, what to say to people. There was no. But by the time we'd left the boat going on into France. I mean, the ice was broken. Everyone was laughing and joking, getting to know each other really. And it was, if I think if it would have gone on a plane, it wouldn't have happened till 4 or 5 days in. But the bus journey sorted that out.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so let's talk about when you actually arrived in Poland. Obviously, I mean, my only involvement really was to ask you two to go, so I don't know what happened. Were you staying in a big hotel or a tent, or were you staying with families? How did that work?
It was about 10 minutes walk from the centre of Krakow. It was a bread and breakfast, but there was apartments on each floor, and it was completely different to what I expected on that sense as well. You had like your own mini house on each floor.
Right.
There's about a group of 5 of you from the diocese, similar ages, all on that floor with it was a perfect idea, really. Yeah, ideal.
Right. So Jack,
Yeah,
be honest. First night, what time did you get to sleep?
I think it was quite an early sleep, really, because of the journey. Just
You're
a little bit.
completely exhausted.
You spent
Yeah,
half your night. You
absolutely.
just had half your night playing Pokemon. To be fair, to you.
Obviously.
Right, okay, so now then, a few years back, I was actually in Germany when World Youth Day, I was there the day before watching World Youth Day kind of gather, and it was an amazing thing to see. I think there was 1.1 million there that year. There was over 2 million at yours, I think?
2.5, I think.
Yeah,
2.5 million. So what was that like, just to feel the place growing with people?
It was amazing, wasn't it?
It was incredible. Like the first night, we just had a little walk to centre of Krakow, and there was Americans, Italians, all jumping on the statue with instruments, just singing national anthem, singing. There's everyone. It was. I've never, you couldn't help but like smile and see how many people were there. It was incredible. It was good to watch. Never mind be part of.
I mean, I remember the Germany thing, like I say, a good few years back now. The whole place was... there was no rowing, there was no arguments. It was just a really happy time, and I presume that's what it was like in Poland.
Absolutely.
That's one of the biggest things that struck me, I think, when you go to these... You go centre in Manchester, you don't know... There's always going to be a row going on, but you go... There was literally... There was people walking around just high-fiving, hugging each other. It was absolutely... It was just brilliant, because... No one had not a nasty word to say about anyone. Everyone was just friends and family.
Great. I'm going to come back to that in a little while. But how did each day then kind of open up? Was there mass every day, or?
Yeah, there was mass every day.
Right.
I think we went to the stadium a couple of days. There was like a pre-mass type
So
thing.
these were were these huge events?
Yeah, it was the Tour Arena, I think it was. And it was about a 15-minute, 20-minute tram. It was there was catechesis on in the mornings, where there'd be for the English speakers. So it was very American dominated. So there'd be a couple of inspirational stories. There was someone who was born in a refugee camp who came and talked. And there's always a married couple on before and talking about family life. Yeah. And then there'd be a cardinal each morning, and then the cardinal would give mass straight after he spoke.
Right. So there was an overglut of cardinals. You can kind of see that happening, really.
Yeah.
And how, as far as priests are concerned, the higher up the pecking order you go, you say the mass if you're at the top of it.
Absolutely.
Definitely, that's how it seemed.
Yeah. So, how long was the actual? You arrived and you left. Is it 8 days, 10 days, 11?
We came on the Sunday and then arrived back at the cathedral Tuesday evening. So it was 10 days.
Oh right, 10 days round trip.
2 days travelling, pretty much almost. So
yeah. So, the impression that you got obviously seems as though you it wasn't quite what you were expecting. Can you verbalise that, Jack, in some way?
Well, by a lot of things, I thought it would just be like in a giant open space and just tons and tons of people packed in. It would be dead silent all day, and just praying.
And that didn't happen, obviously.
Yeah, definitely not. No, it was a different experience completely. You had people cheering all the time. You had like masses that weren't just like everyday normal masses.
Yeah,
you had like things from every day put into them. That I thought was amazing. The people the different priests that you see that you'd never Like, imagine the stories he could tell, and he told you stories.
Funnily enough, one of the things that I didn't hear from this particular World Youth Day was how many priests went. Now, usually there can be, I don't know, up to about 10,000 priests from around the world. So I presume there was a big turnout of clergy.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
We took about 5 or 7, just there was 7.
Just from
just
our
from
yeah,
us.
yeah.
So along the way, then, did you meet people from other dioceses in the UK?
Yeah,
And
Oh, we did.
Blackburn were quite heavily because Lancaster Diocese, not Blackburn.
Lancaster,
sorry. And there was someone from there was a couple of the priests that would come on and talk, and the bishop would often get on and talk to our bus,
right,
and vice versa. But the bishops were never really part of the whole trip. They got their own little separate bus to
of course they did.
VIPs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We won't talk about that. Right. So then, what was the experience like, Jack, perhaps, of meeting so many other young people, Catholics, from around the world? Because I know that I heard people that were from Indonesia, there were people from Japan, there were people from Australia, there were people from Canada, South America. What was it like meeting so many, all there with your faith?
You would think that there would be so many people you couldn't relate to them, but obviously you had one thing you could relate to everyone, so you instantly sort of knew everyone.
Yeah.
So straight away, as soon as you've met a group of people, you would be asking them, "How's it going? What are you doing today?"
Yeah.
And you were acting like you already met them before.
Yeah.
And it was going on with lots of people, really, and like you could tell.
Well, I want to go back now to something kind of Adam alluded to a little while ago, and that is one of the things that was said on a promotional video before World Youth Day happened was, if you told a city, let's talk about Manchester because it's our nearest, if you told a city like Manchester, in 10 days' time, there are going to be 2.5 million youngsters under the age of 30 arriving. Well, you can imagine the panic stricken. They'd be boarding up front windows and they'd be... the police would be there in big style.
Kind of thing.
But that's what's so unique about this enormous crowd of people. There is no problem. There is no trouble. And I mean, I don't know whether the police were there in big numbers or not. Certainly Germany years ago, I don't think we ever saw a policeman at all, really. So what was the security like? I mean, obviously with what's going on in the world in recent events, how did you find the security with such a huge crowd?
With the bigger groups, there were obviously a lot more security. You can definitely feel the presence there. But as it thinned out in the streets, it was just not as much security, but you could definitely tell they were there.
But they weren't checking bags and stuff like that, surely?
They were in some places, but not very often.
What, with the crowd like that?
Yeah, they
How
tried.
did they pull that one off?
They tried.
I can't. I think it definitely going into Auschwitz, your bag was checked, but
Right. So let's talk about some of the places that you went. Obviously, you said there that you've been to Auschwitz. What was that like?
sobering, if anything. It was very really
eye-opening. Really.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a funny place because it's one of the places that I don't think I could ever go. I just don't think I'd be able to deal with Auschwitz. I mean, it's bad enough seeing it on the TV, but I mean, I've known groups that have gone, and obviously your group went, but I don't know whether I could hack that really.
I'd want to do it again personally.
Would you?
Because it was obviously with the extent of the crowds and the Holy Father going the day after.
Yeah.
It was 2 hours of what is normally like a 6-hour round trip, I think. So you
Right.
couldn't get the full. But even just being there and walking around it and reading the things, it was still, wow, this happened.
Mm. So tell me about, were there any other places of interest that really kind of caught your imagination? I mean, obviously Auschwitz is one that everybody around the world knows that name. Was there anywhere else that sort of caught your imagination?
On the first day, we went to Sister Faustina.
Oh yeah,
and the Divine Mercy,
Yeah.
which was another. It was just again more eye openers as you went through the days, and when they see.
Mm.
I mean, that was to get to the actual original painting. It was a 2.5 hour, 3 hour queue. I mean, it was
Yeah.
that many people all wanting just to do the same thing. It was incredible.
I just think that these kind of trips are. I mean,